All right. So you guys have the assignment now. You know what that's due for when? Monday, okay? And you're going to want that Desmos stuff open for you today too. But guys, really a pretty important section up here, guys. Integrated 1, we're going to start talking about writing equations. Now, we've talked about a lot of forms lately. Basically, 3 types of lines that we've been looking at. Well, I actually say they're all lines, just different forms of how we represent those lines. What was the first form we started talking about in this chapter? Slope-intercept form. And then from slope-intercept form, we moved on to standard form. And then after standard form, we went into lines that were either horizontal or vertical. So we've looked at a lot of forms. Now today, we're going to start working on writing equations for lines, given some information, and using that information to make some estimates or calculations based on what we don't know. And the thing I want you to understand today is this. When we start writing equations in slope-intercept form, goal-wise, we're going to write equations for described situations in y equals mx plus b form right here. What's this form called again? Slope-intercept form now again. So let's recall slope-intercept form right down here. Help me recall this. First of all, the form is y equals mx plus b, where m represents the what again? Slope. So in other words, my rise over my run. And what's the b value represent? The y-intercept again. Okay, b is going to represent your y-intercept. Okay, so it's good to revisit that, make sure we understand what we're doing. Guys, what I'm really getting at today is this. We're going to be writing equations in this form. In your job today is simply going to be figure out a value for your slope, figure out a value for your y-intercept. We're basically substituting values for m and b. We want to write an equation for a described situation, slope-intercept form. We need to know the slope value. You need to know the intercept value. All right? Now we're going to use Desmos here to kind of confirm some of the stuff that we do to know that we're right. But I think if you pay attention to this, you'll be in good shape. All right, I'm at the note part right there. Somebody want to volunteer to read the note for me?
You'll need a point and a slope or 2 points to be able to write your equations.
Okay. So we need the situations to happen here. We need the following. It says we need a point and a what? Okay, we got to find a point and a slope in order for this to work. Or it says you might need what? Or you'll need 2 points to make this work. Okay. Keeping in mind, guys, when we write these equations for described situations, what am I trying to find values for? M and B. Do you guys agree that all these points that I talk about right here, any point is a point, something, comma, something? X, comma, what? Any point is X, comma, what? And a slope will always be a rise over a run. Okay. Example 1. I'm going to kind of, as we work through these, the first example is going to be very easy. And these are going to progressively get more and more difficult as we go through them. Okay? So example 1 is kind of nice. Example 1, they're saying, hey, how about I give you the slope and the what? I'm just going to tell you what the slope is. And I'm just going to tell you what the y-intercept is. Write an equation for that. Okay? So down below it says write an equation if the slope is what value? 4 and the y-intercept is what? Well, gosh, guys, if I just tell you what the slope is and what the y-intercept is, what variable could you plug in for m? Okay. And I think that the thing that you should do when you're doing these problems today is the following. I think you should say, okay, I know I have to write an equation of this form. Whoops. I know for a fact that I have to write an equation of this form. I'm going to underline the m and I'm going to underline the b. We need to figure out what the slope is. We need to figure out what the y-intercept is. Well, the nice thing about example 1 is that you're given what? 4 and 2. 4 and 2 is what? 4. Okay. Keeping in mind, guys, when we write these equations
Both.
You're given both of them, right? What is the slope value in this? 4. What's the y-intercept? Now in your book, they're going to say the vertical intercept is, but we already know that the vertical intercept means y-intercept, right? So what's the equation going to look like here, guys?
Y equals 4x plus -6.
And when you say plus -6, is it okay if I just write that as 4x minus 6? Okay. They gave us the slope of what value? 4. They gave us the y-intercept of what? -6. There it is. We're done. Make sense? That's pretty easy, right? Remember what I said, we're going to start easy and progressively get more difficult. Maybe we should just stop there and call it good, huh?
Yep.
Huh?
Yep.
No.
Yes.
What's the saying, Mrs. Miller? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Let's
Come back
roll.
tomorrow, though.
Huh?
We're gonna come back tomorrow, though.
Come back tomorrow. Nice try. This isn't going to take too long to get through. All right, let's look at page 2. Page 2. Now keep in mind, you either need a slope and a point or 2 points. Keep in mind, that last example, I gave you the slope and a y-intercept. The slope is the slope. Isn't the y-intercept really a point? Yeah, I gave you a slope and a point there, didn't I? Okay, let's take a look at example 2, and I'm going to show you how this ties in with Desmos. This is pretty interesting. Okay? This time I'm telling you in example 2 that I'm going to give you a slope and a what? Is that point the y-intercept this time? No, it is not. I don't specifically say in example 2 that here's the slope and here's the intercept, do I? In fact, let's read through example 2. It says, write an equation for the line that passes through which point? -4, comma. Now notice right here, kiddos, I wrote up here in green, given a slope and a point, and that point is written as what, comma, what? Basically what this says is the following. It says when their x value on the line is -4, what's your y value? 12. Okay, so it's got to pass through the point -4, comma 12. I want you guys to go to Desmos right now. Go ahead and get into that Desmos calculator. And give me a second to get there. Okay. You guys tell me, are you here right now? Okay, I'm going to put mine in projector mode. My graph might look a tad bit different than yours, but not too bad. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I think I can get away with this now. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. No, I want projector mode. Can you see that better? Is that okay?
Yep.
All right, good. Here's what I'd like to do. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can get all these points in here. It said what point, what?
Negative.
Let me say this again. What point do you have to pass through again?
-4, comma 12.
-4, comma 12. Okay. You can probably do this right here, guys. In your calculator, first of all, 2 things about this Desmos calculator. Do you see this button right down here? Now you can use your keyboard to type stuff in, but if you can't find stuff, you can always pull this up right here to type stuff in. And what I would like you to do is this. I'm going to put that point in. I'm going to put in, anytime you put a point in, make sure you put what around that point. Okay, I'm going to put in this point, -4, comma 12. All right, so let me do that quickly. -4, comma 12. Now notice, on my graph right here, and if it doesn't show up on yours, hit the minus button over here to zoom out so you can see it. That point, -4, comma 12. Isn't that 4 to the left and up 12? You guys agree with that? Okay, so I've got this point plotted. Left 4 units and up 12. Now, we're writing an equation. We're writing an equation for a line that passes through that point. So there's some line that has to go through this point. Is this point the y-intercept or not? It's not the y-intercept because it's not on the y-axis. So, looks like to me, we're going to write an equation for a line with a slope through this point where we know the slope, but we're going to have to determine what the y-intercept is. Do you guys agree with that?
Yep.
Okay. let's leave that point there, and you guys go back to your notes that you have in front of you. Here's how this works. Here I'm given a slope and a what again? Point. Okay. I told you in the last example, I think it's a great idea to start your problems out by writing the general form of slope-intercept form every single time. So what am I going to write first?
mx plus b.
Okay. And I like to underline the m, and I underline the b. Now keep in mind, this is a point, -4, 12, where this is like an x, y right here, right? Okay, that's going to be important to listen to. Again, what two values do I have to fill in for before I'm done? Slope and the intercept, m and b. Okay. Hey, do we know the slope? What is the slope?
1/2.
So what could I plug in for m automatically? All right, so I'm going to start this out. Y equals 1/2 x plus b. And I can't put a value in for b because does it say, hey, the y-intercept is like the last example, -6? Does it say that? So I can't plug anything in for b. Okay. So what that leads me to is the following. We know, in fact, let's go back to our graph. I'm going to go back to my graph and I'm just going to show you something.
So,
What was the slope through that point? Means to rise 1 and run what? Okay, I don't like this graph. I'll pull mine down. By the way, you can click on your graph like I'm doing right now and pull it down if you want to slide it down to see more. Like that. You guys okay with that? What did it say that the slope was? Rise 1, run 2?
Yep.
Looks like from here, if I rise 1, run 2, rise 1, run 2, looks like I'm going to cross right here at what value? 14. You guys agree with that? Looks like I'm going to cross at 14. Well, I want to figure out how to do that without a graph. Okay? Looks like to me the y-intercept is going to be 14. Sometimes there's going to be y-intercepts that are going to be like 3.6 or 2.7. We're not going to be able to predict that just by looking at the graph. So here's how this is going to work today. What you do is the following. The point -4, 12 is an x, y point. Hey, don't you have some x's and y's in here somewhere? Okay. When you have a slope and a point, what you do is this. Put your slope in first. We've already accomplished that. Now you're going to take this point and substitute it in, which says that when your x value is what here? Your y value is what?
12.
Watch what happens when I do that. I'm going to take this x and y value. What am I going to plug in for y? The 12 or -4?
12.
Right here where you have a y, plug in 12. Okay, plug in 12. That's going to equal your slope that you already know of 1/2. What's going in for x?
-4.
And then do we know what the y-intercept is yet?
No.
Don't have a clue yet. We think it's going to be 14 based on what we talked about graphically, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to write plus b right here. Guys, what I've done is taken this point, substituted in for x and y, which says that when x is -4, you have to plug in 12 for y. This is going to allow me to solve for which variable now? This is going to allow you to solve for b, isn't it? Okay, so check it out. What happens here is this. We have 12 equals. Do you guys really agree that this says 1/2 times -4 or half of -4?
Yep.
What is half of -4?
-2.
So this is really -2 plus what over here still? Well, we need to know what the b value is equal to. We need to figure out what that b value is equal to. We use that xy point to throw in for x and y so we can solve for the y-intercept. How would you get rid of -2 on this side to get b alone? Add 2, right? What have you got?
0.
These cancel, so what's your b value equal when you do that? What's 12 plus 2 here?
14.
Oh my gosh, b is what value?
14.
Isn't that kind of what we thought when we were looking at it graphically?
Yeah.
All right, so here's what we think. Slope is 1/2. Intercept is 14. So how do I want to write my solution for this described situation? In other words, what's the equation of this line in slope-intercept form given this information up here?
Y equals 1/2 x plus 14.
Hey, check this out. check this out. Go back to your Desmos. Go back to your Desmos. I'm going to go ahead and type number 2 right here. I'm going to go ahead and type in y equals exactly what we said. Y equals, what did we say, 1/2. So go 1 divided by what? 2. I love Desmos because it automatically turns that into what? Okay, now when you see this is down here like this, you might have to kick over it so it's over by the half. So I'm going to hit this arrow button right here to get it over here. See how I've got the cursor over there now?
Or you can just click on it.
Or you can click on it as well. 1/2 x plus what? Hey, quick question. If I pick this point and say this point right here on the line, the 2 points that I've highlighted, what's the slope for point to point? Looks like rise 1 and run how much? Is that slope 1/2?
Yeah.
Okay, so we satisfied the part with one condition. If the slope of this line is 1/2, we're good on that, right? Does this also pass through the point left? Whoops, let me get rid of my keyboard. Or I'll just slide this up, that's what I'll do.
You just do 1 divided by.
Hey, I got a question. Does this pass through the point -4, 12? In other words, left 4 and up 12 units?
Oh, yeah.
Does it pass through that point? Are both conditions met by the line that I put in to check to see if I was graphing this correctly? It is, isn't it? What do you guys think? You okay with this?
Yeah.
All right. So example 2. Understand I gave you a slope and a point. Put the slope in first. But that point doesn't just go in for the y-intercept. You got to plug it in for x and y and use that to solve for your y-intercept. Make sense? Make sense? Okay. Now, I really like the Desmos calculator here for the next thing that we're going to look at in example 3. Now, before example 3, do you guys have any questions whatsoever? Everybody with me? Any questions at all? Okay. This is the one that gets kind of difficult, but I think that this is where your Desmos is going to come in pretty handy for you today. All right? This is the example where I'm giving you what? What's it say?
2 points.
I'm giving you 2 points. Do you know the slope, first of all?
Yeah.
Does it say the slope up there? I'm not giving you a slope at all, am I?
No.
Okay. Am I giving you the y-intercept?
No.
I'm not giving you either one, but I am giving you what?
Point.
2 points. All right. Let's talk about these 2 points first. Let's look at the example, and it says we're going to write an equation for a line that passes through which points? 4, comma, and
8, 4.
okay. Here's what I think is to your advantage today. Let's go back to this. I want to eliminate the stuff that I've done before. So you guys see this little settings gear up here on your Desmos? Go ahead and click that. See where it says delete all? This graph is D-U-N done. Okay, what were the points that we said we were passing through in example 3? What was the first one?
4, 12.
Okay, so I'm going to plot this. Let's just do this. Parentheses, 4, comma, whoopsies, oops. There we go. 4, comma, what'd you say, 12, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I will pull this down so we can see. See my first point, 4, comma, 12? Everybody see that? Then my next one, what was the second point?
8, 4.
Okay, so click on number 2 right there to get a field open. And plug in 8, comma, 4. Okay, you see my point 8, comma, 4 clear down here? You guys okay with that? Are you in a situation? Hold on. Holdy, Ani. Holy guacamole. Stop. I'm moving it with my hands. It is with me. It's always with me. Jay. God rides with me. Pretty sure I couldn't just say that.
You didn't say people have to ride with you.
them inside, I guess. Whatever. Don't care. I wear pink socks with polka dots on too. Not about me. Guys, there's a line that's going to pass through those 2 points, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be a line in slope-intercept form, right?
Yeah.
Do we know the slope?
Huh?
Do we know the y-intercept?
Yeah.
I don't. Could I find the slope given those 2 points right there now?
Yeah.
Could I count the rise and the run?
Yeah.
Remember how we work from point to point? What direction? What to what?
Left, right.
Left to.
Um,
Isn't there a song by the Dave Matthews Band that says left to right? Right to left. Okay, never mind. You guys know who the Dave Matthews Band is. What's my rise right here, kiddos? Can I count that? Help me out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. -8, right? All right. How about my run?
4.
We can look at our graph after I plot those points and say, hey, I can calculate my slope now, right? -8 divided by what? 4. Rise over run. -8 divided by 4. What is -8 divided by 4? -2. Do you guys agree the slope here is -2 now? Oh, that's awesome. Guys, when I'm given 2 points, what's the first thing I just had to find here? Rise over run, or the slope. Yeah, so let's go back to this right here. Let's go back to this. We know that if I go, I wonder if I can write on this. Hang on, Mrs. Miller. I'm going to try something real quickly. And I know I'm recording, but I've got to try something quickly. There was a way to... take a snapshot of this. How many of your other teachers use this Mimeo board?
None.
Anybody?
No.
0? Are you kidding me?
Zilch. What?
Mrs. Miller? Somebody's got to use this thing, don't they?
Oh.
I believe I have to click.
Mr. Switzer used it.
Yeah. He did before we went to Cedar Falls.
Yes, watch this. Watch this. I think I've got it.
Except for
Ah!
Carson, except for
I love it. I'm writing right on that thing. Yeah.
Do you have like a pad that you can like sit in the back?
I used to have one of those, but that comes with the newer ones, I believe. Who had a pad?
Carson. Or,
Did he?
yeah.
Does that mean you can write on any web page now?
Uh-huh. Things just got interesting. -8, and this is 4. So what's the slope between these 2 points again, guys? My rise over my run was
-8 over 4.
-8 over 4, right? Okay, are we good there? Okay, well, no problem. Here's what I want to do then. I think I need to unlock this here, I believe, to get out of this. Or maybe I gotta go back to my mouse. Oh, I got it, Mrs. Miller. Awesome. It's good stuff. Okay, kiddos, so here's the deal. What did we say the slope was going to be for this? -8 divided by 4? -2, right? So the slope's -2. So I'm going to start this out as y equals mx plus b. I'm going to say y equals -2 times x plus b.
Sorry, where did you get the negative from?
Where did the -2 come from again? I need to go back to my, okay, hang on a second. I can do this. I can do this. Screen annotations. This came from, remember our points that we plotted right here, Bree?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So we said down 8 over 4 and the rise over run, -8 divided by 4 was what value? -2. Understand that? Okay. So, whoops, didn't want to do that. So I know the slope is oh, where'd my page go? There it is. I know the slope is -2, right? So I put this in for which variable?
The slope. And
Yeah. Now, here's the deal. Just like in this last example, don't you really have a slope and a point right here? Doesn't matter which point. But I do have a point, right? Let's choose a point. I'm going to choose the point 4, 12. 4, 12 is my x, y that I'm going to plug in to solve for the y-intercept. So check this out. If I choose this point to plug in, these are x, y, so that's what the variables we're going to plug in for. What would you plug in for y given that point that you chose? 12. 12 is going to equal the slope that you know of, negative what? -2, right?
yeah.
What's the x value for this point?
4.
4, right? So that's x, y, 4, 12. 4 in for the x, 12 in for the y. 4 in for x, 12 in for y, right guys? Okay, help me out. 12 equals, what's the -2 times 4 here, kiddos? -8 plus b. Oh my goodness, that's going to allow us to figure out what the b value is. Again, whole concept here. Given these situations, write an equation to solve for m and b. Plug in m, plug in b. Am I able to solve for b right here? What you going to do?
Add 8 to both sides.
Add the 8 to both sides. Excellent. What is the b value?
1.
Okay, so when I solve this, we get your b value is 20. That's important. So equation-wise, what would you say? Y equals -2x plus 20. I want to confirm this. We started out this situation given 2 points and said, hey, you write an equation that passes through 4, 12 and 8, 4, right? Right? Okay. Let me go back to the Desmos here. We went ahead and we graphed those points right there, right? Those are the points that we graphed. Now, if I am correct on my equation, I should be able to come down here to part 3. I should be able to come down here to part 3 and type in the equation we think passes through those 2 points. If my line misses those points, then your equation has to be what? Wrong. You have every opportunity to check to see if you're right now. So let's type in what we came up with as solution. What was our solution? Let me get my keyboard here quickly. Y equals what?
-2x plus 20.
So let's type that in. Let's go y equals. Oh, where's my equal sign, kiddos? There it is. What did we say? -2x plus 20? -2x plus what?
Plus 20.
Oh my gosh. Does that pass through the 2 points we were given? It does, doesn't it?
Definitely passed me.
Mind blown.
Okay,
Oh, I
so
put 14 instead
I
of
just want to talk about this here real quickly. So I'm gonna capture this page so I can write on it. Okay, right here, kids. Right here, kids. Watch what we did. You were first of all told what your points were, right? In which case, we went into Desmos and we did what? Well, we plotted the 2 points right away, didn't we? All right. After we plotted those 2 points, we used our rise over our what? Run, making sure we moved from what direction to what direction?
Left to right.
Left to right. So we went down and over to find my slope. We said that this was a rise of -8 and a run of 4, which got us a slope value of what value? -2, right? Then, once I knew the slope was -2, we wrote down y equals -2x plus b, because I could plug the slope in for m now, right? Which meant that you still had to solve for which variable? Didn't you still have to solve for b? Well, at that point we said, you know what, since I don't know the y-intercept, I know that I have how many points sitting up here?
2.
2 of them. We chose the point 4, 12 to take the place of x and what?
Y.
So we plugged in 12 for y. We plugged in 4 for an x right there. And that's going to allow us to solve for what value?
B.
B. When we went through all the math here, we had 12 equals -8 plus B, which meant that B was 20. Guys, look at my graph right here. Does my y-intercept of 20 right up here exist? Isn't that what that says right here? 20 up there? Does, doesn't it? Okay. When I write my equation in, y equals -2x plus 20, doesn't that hit those 2 points right here? Doesn't that hit those 2 points right here? Does, doesn't it? What do you guys think?
Easy.
You okay with this? All right. I think, do you guys have a third page here?
Yeah.
What's on that third page? Okay, the last example I want to talk about here quickly then is this. Okay. Hey, example 3 is probably the most important one. If you can understand example 3, you can do any of this. Keep in mind, example 1, that was really easy, right? Example 2, not too bad. Example 3 was there some work involved? There was. Okay, so again, progressively getting more and more difficult. Getting more and more difficult progressively, all right? But I think if you can understand example 3, easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. All right, let's look at example 4 here then. Last one today. Guys, I don't want you to make this one difficult on yourselves. I'm going to give you an example right here. The last example they're going to talk about is to say, given the x and the y intercepts. Okay? I'm going to make this as easy as possible for you. Make this easy as possible for you. What I would like you guys to do is write this down. Write an equation. Write an equation. Write an equation. Oops. Yep. With a horizontal intercept of 2 and vertical intercept of let's just pick, how about 6? And vertical intercept of 6. So I want you to write an equation with a horizontal intercept of 2 and a vertical intercept of 6. So I'll give you a second to write that down. Anybody need more time with that? Go ahead, Cole. Cole, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Everybody else got it? Let's talk about what's going on here. I'm going to make a sketch of this real quickly, and we'll see if we can kind of confirm this using Desmos again. First of all, what's it say to do up here in parentheses? When they give you the intercepts, both the intercepts, the x and y intercepts, what's it say to do? I'm going to do just that. You guys do the same thing. Go ahead and make an x-y axis right down here. You guys have your x-y axis drawn there? What's it say the horizontal intercept is? That means isn't this the horizontal axis right here? That would mean on the horizontal axis go to what value? 2. Ready? 1, 2. Right there, right? You guys agree with that? And then it says you got a vertical intercept of what?
6.
Rise up how many units then?
6.
So I might be right here. That's 6. Do you guys agree that there's a line passing through this now? Oops. You guys agree that there's a line passing through this? Like, oh, I don't know, maybe so. Kind of like that. 2 questions. Number 1, just off of this sketch, could you calculate the slope from this point to this point? How many units down would you be?
5.
Be 6 down, wouldn't you? How many units right? Okay, so you guys agree that my slope from left to right would be -6 down, 6 units left, and then right how many units?
2.
What's -6 divided by 2 going to get you? -3, right? Second question is, if I know what the slope is, we've always said in this situation, we've got to find the y-intercept also. Well, the idea that we said, hey, here's the vertical intercept at 6. The vertical intercept is crossing which axis? The y-axis. So what value have I crossed at up there? What is the y-intercept? Where does it cross the y-axis? What is our initial value? 6. Y-intercept is 6. Hey, slope's -3. Intercept's 6. What's my equation here? Y equals what again? Y equals -3x plus 6. There it is. Okay? So looking at this graphically on Desmos, how do I know I'm right? How do I know I'm right? Well, what am I going to type in here, guys? So let's do that. I'm going to go into here. I'm going to clear this stuff out. Carrie, will you read the equation to me one more time? Y equals what again? -3x plus 6. Let me get okay. Y equals -3x plus 6. Quick question here, kiddos. And I love Desmos for this reason. You can come up here and hover. You can come up here and hover right here on that. And holy cow, it tells you that's the point. What, comma, what?
6.
That's 6 indicating which intercept? Y-intercept, right? Y-intercept, right? I can hover on this point down here. Wasn't that my horizontal intercept? What was the horizontal intercept value? Basically being, when I give you the vertical and horizontal intercept, how many points did I really give you again, guys? 2 points, right? Wasn't 2 points an example we looked at prior to this one? Wasn't it? Okay. Guys, there's a ton of information in this section right here. I would strongly encourage you 2 things. If there's something you didn't catch today, go back and watch that certain part. Okay? Or if you're working on the assignment saying, okay, what do I have here? A slope and an intercept. Go back to the part of this and watch it again. Okay? It's all right there for you. All right? What questions have you guys got today? How many, just give me a show of hands. Is there anybody out there not comfortable with Desmos, or are you okay with what we did up here today, getting that stuff entered in? It's an easy tool. It's a great tool to make sure you know if you're correct or incorrect. Mrs. Miller, anything I missed at all?
No, you're a genius.
I don't know about that stuff. All right, we'll shut this down.